Aloha, everybody. This is Cathy Bilsky, the Quantum Leap Let Light Unite show on UPRN Radio. And this is June 4th, 2021. Well, tonight we're going to do a lot of things. I live in Hawaii and there's some fires going on, so I want to give that attention. And we're going to talk about radiation and how high the radiation is in the United States. And it will blow your mind. And some nuclear news. We got time after that. We will do some energy work for people that, the elementals that make the nuclear up, and get into some ways to help us stay healthy during this time. Because we are living in a very, very highly radiated planet. And it doesn't matter where you live, we're all being affected by this. Mercury is in retrograde still, and what that means, if it can go wrong, it will. Appointments may not want to come together. Communication problem. Oh my God. Oh yeah, I had some of that today, but have a human moment, and I had a few. It's not a time for starting new things. It's a time for finishing up projects. And, if something is started before retrograde, it can continue. It's just when you start something new in retrograde and after Mercury goes direct, a lot of times that falls apart. And that means businesses, love relationships. There's always that one little chance that it'll work out right for you, but on a whole, we kind of avoid Mercury in retrograde. So it's going to be in retrograde till June 22nd, and then you're going to give it 3 more days to get out of the curve and straighten up. So, if it's a little bumpy, hi, here we are. What I want to do, first, I'm going to do some energy work for the fires that are happening in Hawaii, and especially on the Big Island. So I'm going to ask that in your mind's eye, you actually see this happening. And we're going to create a big bubble of light and put the Hawaiian Islands in there, and anywhere there's a fire on the island, that's where we're going to direct this energy. And again, I want you to send energy into that bubble, and in your mind's eye, actually see this happening, if you can envision it. And if you can't really see it in your mind, just act as if it's there and pretend it's there and do the best you can. It's all intent. So I just want everyone to take a deep breath, release everything that no longer serves you. Imagine that energy going through the violet flame back to God. You fill up with light. Feel yourself reconnect to the Creator, and all that incredible high divine energy comes pouring into your body. Flows out your hands, all your chakras into this bubble of light that we're forming. We're going to put a huge Earth Keeper crystal under it to amplify our energy work even more. All right, so I want you to reconnect with the Creator, feel that energy flow down. We've created a bubble of light, and in this bubble of light, we're going to put in all the areas in Hawaii that are having fires, no matter what island. So let there be light in the name of the presence of God, which I am, through the magnetic power, the sacred fire vested in me, I command. We're going to cut all ties to any direct energy weapons or HARP energy that could be amplifying the fire, freeing the fire from that energy, or it's creating wind. And we're going to free that wind from that energy. We're going to direct that energy back at those facilities and see all their equipment imploding, causing massive installation, permanent shutdowns. We're going to send the violet flame through the fire to let it burn its energy out through the etheric and not the physical. We're also going to call to Michael the Archangel to cut all ties with whoever started this fire for whatever karmic reason. And again, as those ties are cut, we're going to violet flame every cell, atom, molecule in that area of the fire to help it transmute that energy and calm down and see itself, allowing itself to be put out by the water elemental. Now we're also, again, going to reconnect the fire elemental back to the creator and command it to be neutral, to only emit love, and to go out. We command the water elemental to release heavy moisture into the air, creating rain clouds, and it creating the rain needed to put out all the fires and clear the air. So we call to all the waters in and around the Hawaiian Islands, all the lakes, the streams, especially the ocean, to release heavy moisture into the air. As the water rises into the atmosphere, it evaporates, turning into a gas form. See the water vapor cooling and condensing to become clouds. However, to condense, the vapor needs something to attach itself to. So see it attaching to the tiny molecules that the fire elemental has released into the air. Now, warm air likes to rise, and as it rises, it cools. As the cool air can't hold water, the water gets squeezed out of the condensing air and clouds begin to form. Now, as the water in the clouds build up enough, it falls back to the ground as rain, and it draws cool air down with it. And see this energy working together. There's a very gentle, warm updraft and a cool downdraft. Then now this is going to create a storm cell. And as this process continues, the cloud grows and we see large rain clouds appear. Now these rain clouds are now ready to grow and build and start releasing the rain over the fire. And as we're doing this, we're going to command that there's a drop in barometric pressure that will actually draw rain into those areas. And see, again, rain clouds forming and it raining hard enough to put out the fires and to give everything a very good soak without hurting or harming anyone. Now we're going to call the higher selves of all the men and women trying to calm the fire down and ask that they're divinely guided what to do and where to put the water so the fire calms down. So let's send energy to all the firefighters and let them, as they sleep, recharge, regenerate, and if there's any fires involved tomorrow, let them intuitively be guided on how to put it out. And for anyone, firemen and women, doing an airdrop, we're going to call to their higher self and ask their higher self, help them be totally accurate. So when they drop that water on the fire, it's perfect area, and the fire elemental just goes out. And we're going to see the water elemental guiding the firefighters where to place the water on the fire. And again, see the firefighters having perfect accuracy. And we're also going to command the winds to be still. So the winds are to be still. We want the barometric pressure to lower, the water elemental to release its moisture into the air, creating rain, and it rained hard enough to put the fires out. Now, in your mind's eye, see that water elemental, see the fire elemental allowing itself to become calm and neutralized. And if there's been anyone hurt, animal, plant, person, we're going to surround their souls in the angel light just to clean up their energy and their shock and fill them up with love. And we're going to ask the angels to carry them up back to God. And let's fill them up with peace. All right, we're going to fill that up with light and love, and we're going to take a deep breath and release it. And I give thanks for this opportunity to serve. Thank you for participating. I and everybody in Hawaii appreciates it. So tonight I am doing a show on and updating some radiation information and some radiation news that hardly anybody knows about. Now I get my information from oh my goodness, having a brain bubble with his name. His name is Bob. That's not going to help very much. Well, he works for Veterans Today. He writes for Veterans Today. And he has been putting together all these charts with the radiation exposures in the United States. So guys, it doesn't matter if you live in the United States or not. If this is happening in the United States and you live in a big city, the odds are you're right up there with us. I'm very sorry to say. Now, if you're asking radiation from what? Well, I don't know if y'all remember the nuclear reaction, the nuclear explosion, disaster that happened in Fukushima, Japan about 10, 11 years ago, and it's never been stopped. That radiation is just going into the air. Now they're just throwing it into the ocean, and nobody cares. Nobody's stopping them. They're not even asking for help. So that's going on, and most of that radiation kind of goes over right to the United States first and then flows around the world, because really there's no giant invisible wall keeping this radiation in. Where the wind blows, the radiation goes. Now that doesn't even include all the other nuclear accidents that are happening all over the planet. And in the United States, the people that own nuclear reactors, they're actually allowed to release so much in the night without telling anybody in the neighborhood. I know, that gives you warm fuzzies, huh? So I haven't decided what I should do first. Actually, I think I will. I'm going to give you the radiation counts, we call it CPMs, and anything over 20 CPM is not good. Okay, remember 20. So I'm going to start at the most radiated city in the United States, the most highly radiated, and I'm going to go down to the lowest. And these figures should blow your mind, because it does me. All right. Well, the very top of the list is Colorado Springs, Colorado. And I'm going to round off these figures, if you don't mind. They're at 914 million. Yeah, I said million, and over 20 is bad, right? Million. Now, I just want to say around Colorado Springs in that area, there's a lot of uranium mines, so that could be upping that, and they may have a military base. But anyway, they are number one. Yay, Colorado Springs. All right, next is Raleigh, North Carolina, and they're at 912 million. Portland is 834 million. Little Rock, Arkansas, 807 million. Billings, Montana, 755 million. Worcester, Massachusetts, 737 million. Spokane, Washington, 729 million. Navajo Lake, New Mexico, 727 million. San Diego, 713 million. Oh, God. Sorry. Augusta, Georgia, 756 million. Idaho Falls, Idaho, 660 million. Fresno, California, 695 million. Grand Junction, Colorado, 648 million. San Bernardino, California, 622 million. Denver, Colorado, 616 million. Tucson, Arizona, 610 million. Phoenix, Arizona, 607 million. Atlanta, Georgia, 600 million. Hartford, Connecticut, 603 million. Concord, New Hampshire, 593 million. Albuquerque, New Mexico, 578 million. Riverside, California, 591 million. Los Angeles, California, 577 million. Anaheim, California, 563 million. Boston, Massachusetts, 563 million. Louisville, Kentucky, 557 million. Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, 553 million. And for those of you that just tuned in, I am giving radiation report in the United States. And yes, when you hear me say millions, I mean millions. Pierre, South Dakota, 552 million. Providence, Rhode Island, 545 million. Reno, Nevada, 536 million. Rochester, New York, 531 million. Bakersfield, California, 524 million. Yuma, Arizona, 527 million. El Paso, Texas, 523 million. Miami, Florida, 506 million. Mason City, Iowa, 511 million. Kearney, Nebraska, 508 million. Pittsburgh, 505 million. Laredo, Texas, 492 million. Virginia Beach, Virginia, 492 million. Tallahassee, Florida, 488 million. Kansas City, Kansas, 493 million. Rapid City, South Dakota, 485 million. Shreveport, Louisiana, 484 million. Harrisburg, Virginia, 485 million. Charleston, West Virginia, 482 million. Lexington, Kentucky, 475 million. Wichita, Kansas, 463 million. Amarillo, Texas, 460 million. Memphis, Tennessee, 456 million. New York City, 458 million. Bismarck, North Dakota, 458 million. Lincoln, Nebraska, 456 million. Richland, Washington, 450 million. Tulsa, Oklahoma, 451 million. Fort Smith, Arkansas, 447 million. Salt Lake City, Utah, 440 million. Cleveland, Ohio, 438 million. Omaha, Nebraska, 432 million. St. George, Utah, 441 million. Boise, Idaho, 431 million. Lockport, New York, 424 million. Casper, Wyoming, 426 million. Fort Worth, Texas, 413 million. Carlsbad, New Mexico, 411 million. Knoxville, Tennessee, 411 million. Detroit, Michigan, 411 million. Richmond, Virginia, 402 million. Madison, Wisconsin, 395 million. Champaign, Illinois, 395 million. Philadelphia, 381 million. Birmingham, Alabama, 377 million. Chicago, Illinois, 370 million. San Jose, California, 374 million. St. Paul, Minnesota, 371 million. San Francisco, 367 million. Aurora, Illinois, 367 million. Eureka, California, 364 million. Des Moines, Iowa, 366 million. Burlington, Vermont, 348 million. Corpus Christi, Texas, 345 million. Las Vegas, Nevada, 341 million. Indianapolis, Indiana, 343 million. Houston, Texas, 320 million. Baton Rouge, Louisiana, 317 million. Dallas, Texas, 309 million. St. Louis, Missouri, 301 million. Duluth, Minnesota, 298 million. Yaphank, New York, 288 million. Washington, D.C., 277 million. Nashville, Tennessee, 271 million. San Antonio, Texas, 244 million. Tampa, Florida, 228 million. Fairbanks, Alaska, 222 million. Mobile, Alabama, 200 million. Paducah, Kentucky, 103 million. Anchorage, Alaska, 173 million. Well, I guess 173 million, that's pretty low compared to Colorado Springs at almost 1 billion. But the whole thing is surreal. And guys, you know, if this is like in the United States, you really think, you know, your country is out of it or it's not being affected? It's just a matter of how much. And if you got nuclear plants in your country, yeah, well, think about that. So let's do some nuclear news. Now, there was a Russian nuclear attack by lots of radiation on the USA through most of 2020. The ex-president's buddy, dictator Putin, played Trump perfectly. Citizens and officials might just do the right thing and shut those stationary nuclear weapons down. Realistically, the chances of that happening are slim and none. Big money rules the nukes, not the ex-president, Trump, not any president. The chances of the rich owners closing their rad poison factories are non-existent. President Biden will never even acknowledge the nuclear disaster. The data is very clear. If you live within 300 miles, don't be a dummy. Take direct action and leave now. If you can't or won't leave, you will definitely die before your time. Your leaders had their chances and failed you miserably. If that was Putin's plan, it worked perfectly. Who was involved stateside? Ex-President Trump? The new President Biden? The questions must be asked and the answer needs to be found. You probably won't. In 10 years, there have been zero official rad publicity. I'm going to say that one more time. In 10 years, there has been zero official rad publicity. Gamma radiation in America increased steadily over the past 10 years and is well past the kill you dead level. Now, how much more gamma radiation have you absorbed today? So this is a post-death analysis. If the government routinely gets a hold of your body upon your death, they remove your anus and eyeballs for radiological analysis. These body parts give maximum and minimum absorbed radiation measurements. Your stolen body parts are then used as a natural-born animal dosimeter. As a result, the feds know exactly the level of radiation absorbed by American residents, citizens, and resident aliens alike. It only takes a few minutes to steal those body parts from a cadaver in a morgue. After all, who's going to care? Certainly not you. You're dead. The latest nuclear power plant disasters were in 2020. 3 of the world's largest big nuclear power reactors exploded and gushed huge amounts of measurable radiation into the air. One is outside Moscow, Russia, and 2 are in the US. The US reactors are located at Portland, Maine, and Raleigh, North Carolina. Now, that's a whopping 134 months recorded living with these stationary nuclear weapons. This fleet of nuclear power reactors are the most complicated machines on Earth and disaster prone from day one. The reactor records show it is deadly to run them. The big nuclear power reactors are poisoning America's every minute of every day. It was clearly and plainly visible to dictator Putin. So the dictator from Moscow figured out how to amp up the carnage. Putin knew the American government would not say a word, and he was right. As soon as President Biden took office, dictator Putin called off the Russian nuke forces. The event was old history. The rad damage was permanent and deadly. Plus, the intense radiation rots the insides out in a relatively short order. Make the only rational choice and unplug, kill, and delete the reactor biz. Kill them dead. The reactor uses the immense power of the sun artificially created in a little tin pot just to boil water. How stupid is that? To make it even worse, these psychopath-run industries are rich and powerful. So how can we kill the reactors? Well, it's pretty simple to do, actually. Kill their insurance by any means necessary. The psychos who own the poison factories will shut them down themselves in short order when looking at ongoing huge losses. Yes, kill their insurance by any means necessary. The The psychos who own the poison factories will shut them down themselves. In short order, if the reactors are operating without government guaranteed insurance, kill their government backed or funded insurance. A president with any balls would give the operations 24 hours to close their reactors. After all, the military branches, all of them, work for him. Or this hell gets worse. Actually, is no or there. Things just keep getting worse, and there's nothing we can do about it. Here's 10 years plus of total gamma radiation records. Read it and weep. Those of us living now don't have a chance of surviving for a normal lifespan. And those that took the vaccine have even less. Cancel, clear, delete. What's worse is we humans and the psychopaths themselves can't see, taste, or feel radioactive contamination till it is already far too great to survive. When he started this gamma radiation chronicle, the idea of 1 million counts of gamma radiation per week was a bit far-fetched. Now we are being zapped constantly in this gamma radiation hellhole. Deadly gamma radiation from 2010 to 2020 increased 10 times as measured by the responsible government agency. Never mind that the measured 1 million counts per week plus radiation was way over the gamma radiation maximum safe level. All of us, the perps included, are already irradiated forevermore. We are the walking dead, but first we just get plain old stupid. You may recognize it in your friends. The nuclear weapons maker and pirate nuclear hustlers are truly a sloppy nuclear death cult that holds sway over everyone. Gamma radiation data from government officials display recent total gamma radiation reports showing huge failures to tend to business. It is utterly evil to cover up high gamma radiation readings. That's the sort of thing criminal psychopaths do. Nuclear reactors ran wild for nearly a year in 2020 in Raleigh, North Carolina, and Portland, Maine. The nukes lost their minds when Putin's pet reactor released a huge rad cloud that quick marched its way to the northeast United States months ago. Once set up, then it's spread its rad poison across the states. The 3 nuke reactors are broken or sabotaged and neglected. Shut them down now, if that is even physically possible anymore. Remember the 3 destroyed reactors at Fukushima, Japan? You know, the ones that I mentioned in the beginning? Same thing. What does dictator Putin have to do with rich people? Nuclear reactors anyway. Is there a big for sale, rent, use sign on them for foreign dictators? The nation's most populated area, the Northeast US, is plagued by radiation poisoning from surging nuclear reactors to the north and south and Russia. This does not end well. Russian nuclear attack concludes for now. Now, more than 97 total gamma radiation tracking stations in the United States report that the gamma ray attack from Russia and the United States sources has ceased. The 97 tracking stations are part of this report and have been for more than 10 years. Thank you. This is Bob Nichols that put this work together. Now, and we already went through what his gamma radiation report was. Now, more 2020 summertime rad events. The recent high radiation events this summer in 2020 were started near Moscow with a nuclear reactor 30 miles outside of Moscow under Russian dictator Putin's control. A radioactive cloud was released. The rad cloud immediately headed west for the thousands of miles, kilometers across Russia. I mean, he nuked his own people and Europe to the States, so the story goes. It did not take long for the giant red cloud to park over the northeastern United States. No warnings were issued by federal authorities, though that is their job. I have no idea why the rad cloud parked. It could have been caught in a natural weather circulation above the northern eastern United States or one caused by humans. Many countries have that capacity. It's widely known in the trade as the poor man's atomic bomb. Now, local American reactor owners could have seen an opportunity to purge some of their built-up rad and blame it on the Ruskies. Theoretically, the NRC distributed their classified notifications. Secondly, the nuclear weapons lab would launch sniffer planes to collect rad samples, and not a word has been released. Within days, the nuke weapons lab knew not only what country did it, but would also know the mines that produced the uranium and H-bond factors that made the plutonium. Putin made his move. Does anybody think it was former Trump pal Putin or local sold-out rich guy nuke operators or both? Make no mistake about it, the perps will be found. The president should demand their arrest. What he will do, will he do that and stand up to Putin? Boy, that remains to be seen. So, this is a little ironic. Now, the west coast of the United States earned its own deadly radiation from the wrecked Fukushima reactor complex in northeast Japan. Now, the 4 wrecked American-made reactors are pouring out with radioactive material to this day, and Japan blames the states for the disaster. 2020 was not a good year reactor-wise. However, I do know the unusual and dangerous rad cloud was parked over the northeastern United States. It still is. That's weird. That I know of, not one, none, zero, zilch of the expensive TV weathercaster operation noticed the rad cloud. I don't know why the lethal rad cloud did not move for weeks. Rad radiation readings are still elevated from the summertime, annualized high of, oh my God, 132 CPM recorded in Raleigh, North Carolina. Of course, in terms of highly radioactive America, the gamma radiation has declined to an annual rate of 80 million counts a year at Portsmouth, Maine, 90 million counts a year in Raleigh, North Carolina. Both towns host old, embrittled, most likely leaking nuclear power plants. No mystery there. Except these terror monsters are gushing gamma radiation, not just leaking a few gammas. Rad counts remain severely elevated. Gamma radiation in the wild escapes only from nuclear reactors and detonated or broken nuclear weapons. At the surface of the Earth, there are no other sources. Gamma radiation is and always has been incompatible with life on this planet. How much gamma radiation is it? It's more than enough gamma radiation to kill every living thing on Earth. Two questions are, how much gamma radiation have you absorbed today and from 10 years ago? Too much, too much, too much, too much, too much. Let's talk about some healing modalities. And it doesn't matter, where you live, you need to do this. Okay, you need to do cleanses and keep looking at new ways and new modalities. Really open up your minds. With all this COVID thing going on, I am not vaccinated, and I want to make sure I don't pick anything up from those that are vaccinated. They say they can transmit it to the unvaccinated, and it's not a pretty picture. So I have added a lot more healing modalities into my life. And sometimes, I go home and it's like, God, this is all I'm doing is working on me. But if I don't, nobody will, right? If I get sick, I'm screwed. I can't depend on anybody. So yeah, I do make a lot of effort to stay healthy. One of the things I have learned, especially for those that are not vaxxed, to protect yourself from the vaccinated, you make a tea out of fennel, star anise, pine needles, and it's got to be northern pine, like blue spruce, white pine, Douglas fir. And you can add chaga in there. And chaga is a form of a mushroom that's really, really good for you. So I make a tea out of those in the morning and at night, and you can't figure out where to get it. Some of this you can get at your health food store, in the grocery store, and you cook with star anise, some people, and fennel. So that's already there. So yes, I do that twice a day because I am worth it. And I'm at my store, and a lot of tourists are coming in now. And of course, they brag about getting vaccinated, to where I just sweetly ask them, please keep your mask on. And those that are not vaxxed, I don't care, because I have nothing to fear from you guys. Now, another cleanse I do, this is really new, and I really like this, is go get a foot detox bath. They've got it on Amazon, all over the place. And, you hook yourself up to this little computer thing, machine, and you put your feet in water, and it produces ions, and the ions will pull out all kinds of stuff, depending on where you're at in life. It can pull out heavy metals. It can pull out stuff from your bladder, your kidneys, your liver, cleanse your urine. It's something that I do for at least 30 minutes every night. And, if you're going to do this for the first 14 days, you've got to do it every day. Because if you don't, you're cleansing. And if you skip one, you can get really dizzy or get really bad headaches. Been there, did that. I'll own it. I didn't get the bad headaches, but I was dizzy. I woke up that night and oh my God, it was like like I was drunk. When you get so drunk and the room keeps spinning on you, even if you close your eyes, and all I could do is just pray myself to sleep. It was so bad. Now, what balanced me out was coconut water, and darn, that balanced out my electrolytes. Now, for the next couple of days, I will say I was a little bit lightheaded, and it wasn't due to smoking pot. I was just lightheaded from the cleansing. And then, you keep doing it and you get back to normal. And your body is just detoxing. So I really recommend doing that. If you can add that in there, if you got somebody sick, this would be a good thing for them. You're sick because you're full of toxins. So, another thing I like to do is I like to take a bath with at least a pound of salt, Epsom salt, a pint of hydrogen peroxide, and at least a big cup of baking soda. Now, the baking soda and salt helps pull toxins out, and you've got to do at least a pound of salt. Anything over that will help pull out toxins. Anything under a pound of salt, your body will absorb the salt, which you don't want to do. You want to release and pull it out. The hydrogen peroxide puts oxygen back into your body. So, it's a very good cleanse. And if you want to add, some other essential oils in there, you can. It's really, really lovely. I really have upped my vitamin intake and added, like I said, the herbal teas to it. And God, I really, really didn't like tea. And now it's like tea with a purpose. And if you've ever done Chinese tea, where, he gives you all these huge bags of herbs and you've got to cook it twice a day. You start at 5 cups, cook it down to 1 cup. And when you drink it, it tastes like swamp juice. But it works, but it tastes like swamp juice. This tea is good. The star anise gives it a little bit of licorice flavor. So, this isn't really hard to do. Then you can do lemon and baking soda. Now, that's a good way to put your body back in balance and to help release any cancer. You're putting yourself again back into proper pH balance, where cancer really has a hard time surviving. And lemon destroys cancer cells in 12 cancer types. So when you combine the lemon extract and baking soda, they destroy cancer cells only without harming healthy cells and tissues. Now, I would get baking soda, not Arm & Hammer. Go online or go to your health food store and look for baking soda that does not have any chemicals in it. All right? Now, while you're doing cleansing, it really doesn't hurt you also to do an enema. Yeah, I know. Now, what is that? It's, you've got an enema bag with a really long hose, and you fill it up with warm water. You might want to put aloe in it or something else, even a coffee enema. You stick it up your butt, squeeze as much water in as you can. Then you lie down. I know this sounds gross. And you hold it in as long as you can. And then you're going to run to the toilet and you're going to have what my daughter coined as exploding ass. So you're releasing and pulling out all the toxins out of your body. And it's a really good cleanse. And a lot of times if you're doing a parasite cleanse, when you kill the parasite, the first one, what it does, it releases a toxin. So when you pull that out with the enema at the end of the day, it doesn't circulate or recirculate, and you're going to feel yourself really getting better. Oh boy. All right. Up all your vitamins, guys. Liquid vitamin D3, zinc. That's some things good to use for these times right now for everything. Wow, that takes us right to the end of the show. We've run out of time. Wow. So thank you for helping me do energy work with the fires in Hawaii. I really appreciate you showing up, and remind people that not everybody is dying from COVID. Some people are actually dying from radiation, but they have never addressed it. It's like people getting sick from the cell phones. Never going to talk about it, are they? And then we've got 5G out there, and that is making people sick. Pretty screwed up, I'd say. But again, if we put our intention on enlightenment, we will win. I know it doesn't look like, again, we're the underdog. So, work with your crystals and chant. Remember, December 24th this year, we're doing World Enlightenment event, and really pull that energy down and raise the energy level of the planet and quantum leap us in the world of divine enlightenment. And I hope far that we really can manifest it. And in between, We got to do our energy work, and you can call down enlightenment. May divine enlightenment descend on everyone now. May divine enlightenment awaken within everyone now. Really easy. You can do it. We can do it. It's our destiny. So again, thanks for tuning in. This is Cathy Bilsky, the Quantum Leap Let Light Unite show on UPRN Radio. And this is Friday, June 4th, 2021. Remember, Mercury's in retrograde, so kind of go with the flow. And if you can, stay away from people. Don't have communication. That's really the easiest way to get through this. All right. On that note, good night. Aloha.